Welcome back, viewers, to the latest researches and news. Now we have a fresh and fairly serious development to bring you today, reports of intense, active fighting inside Afar region, along with a fresh round of troop movement reports from multiple fronts, and a notable diplomatic accusation involving Eritrea. Let's go through each update. Viewers, according to the latest field reports, intense fighting is currently underway in the village of Tonsa, located in Megali district of Afar region. The fighting is reportedly taking place between Tigray Defense Forces on one side and Ethiopian National Defense Force units together with allied forces on the other. Before going further, it's worth explaining exactly where this is happening, because the location itself tells you a lot about why this incident matters. Megali is a district within Administrative Zone 2 of the Afar region, sitting at the base of the eastern escarpment of the Ethiopian highlands. It's bordered by Zone 4 to the south, by the Tigray region directly to its west, and by other Afar districts to the north and east. In other words, Tonsa sits essentially right on the seam between Afar and Tigray. It's not deep inside either region. It's on the dividing line itself. That's exactly why this specific area keeps showing up in reports whenever tension rises between Tigray forces and the federal side geographically. It's one of the more accessible crossing points between the two regions. According to sources, Tigray Defense Forces have moved into Zone 2 of Afar region, an area where Tigray Peace Force, troops a force that has been supporting the federal government, were reportedly stationed. Tigray Defense Forces troops are said to have entered across the Afar border and spread out within the district. Local sources describe hearing heavy gunfire in the area, with fighting reportedly still ongoing at the time of this report. As we mentioned in a previous update, Ethiopian National Defense Force reinforcements have been moving toward the Tigray border in both Afar and Amhara regions. Tigray Defense Forces have also reportedly deployed hundreds of additional troops near the Amhara Tigray border area. We've also received video footage, which you can see on screen now, reportedly showing thousands of Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers being transported by truck toward Tigray border areas in both Amhara and Afar regions. This kind of large-scale truck convoy movement is generally a strong indicator of a deliberate reinforcement effort rather than routine rotation, since it involves moving large numbers of personnel over a short period, specifically toward a contested boundary. Separately, there are reports that Tigray Defense Forces are moving toward western Tigray and digging trenches along the borders of both Afar and Amhara regions. Trench construction is typically associated with establishing more permanent defensive positions rather than a short-term patrol posture. So, if accurate, this would suggest Tigray Defense Forces are preparing to hold ground rather than simply patrol it. At the same time, the Ethiopian National Defense Force is reportedly carrying out major troop movements in both Afar and Amhara regions and has deployed additional forces specifically to Zone 4 of Afar region. Combined with the trench digging reports on the other side, this points to both sides reinforcing their positions along the same general stretch of border simultaneously. Finally, a diplomatic development worth noting. Ethiopia's ambassador to Somalia, Suleiman Dedefo, has accused the Eritrean government and Tigray People's Liberation Front leadership of colluding in what he described as a plot against the federal government of Ethiopia. He stated that Eritrea has deployed troops and heavy weapons into Tigray region and suggested that Ethiopia may have grounds to take self-defense measures if the situation continues to worsen. So far, neither the Eritrean government nor Tigray People's Liberation Front leadership has issued an official response to these allegations. It's worth treating this as an unverified diplomatic accusation. For now, ambassadorial statements like this are often as much about signaling political posture as they are about confirmed intelligence. So we'll be watching to see whether either side responds directly or whether this claim gets picked up and repeated by other Ethiopian officials, which would suggest it reflects a broader government position rather than one individual's remarks. To summarize, active fighting reported in Tonsa, right on the Afar Tigray boundary. Large-scale reinforcement movements from both Ethiopian National Defense Force and Tigray Defense Forces along multiple border sections. Trench construction suggesting a more sustained military posture, and a fresh diplomatic accusation linking Eritrea to Tigray People's Liberation Front leadership. All of this remains based on field sources and official statements from involved parties rather than independently confirmed reporting. So we'll continue monitoring and bring you updates as the situation develops. Thanks for watching.